guys, welcome back to my channel. So I've tried to film multiple videos over the past couple of weeks, and if I can ever actually sit down and film the one that I want to film, it will become clear why I haven't uploaded. But today this is just going to be a fun video. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. It's either going to be going through my old palettes and kind of rating them, or it's going to be going through my old makeup, depending on how long the palette. So this will either be, you know, one long video or a two-part video of my old palettes and my old makeup. So basically I don't get rid of makeup. It's a problem. I'm a hoarder, and I have like a whole drawer of my old makeup that I don't use, that I don't think about, that I don't take to use, like I don't use it. So for why do I keep it? Let's get started. Right, so here are the palettes. There's quite a few. I do think it's only right to start with the original Naked palette. This bad boy. She looks like this, if you don't know. I bought this multiple years ago. Oh my god, it must have been 2014, maybe even earlier, when I was just starting to get into makeup like properly, not just like £2 makeup from Boot. And I was like, everyone has the Naked palette, I need the Naked palette. So I bought the Naked palette. Weirdly, since it was like my only real eyeshadow palette, it is hardly used, which is odd because I use this a lot. I don't know. I mean, the Naked palette, I'm gonna do a rating of 1 to 10 because I'm basic. I give this a solid 7. Like, of the time, 10 out of 10. Now, 7. But it's a good one. It does the job. I don't use it, but it does the job. And then we have the Naked 2. This is in a tin. The rest of the Naked palettes were all in a tin. I do prefer the kind of magnetic, velvety one. The Naked 2, I thought this was my mum's. And then she never used it, so I used it. But as you can see, it's well used. We've hit pan quite a few times. That wasn't me, that was my mother. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent palette. 5. I don't like the packaging. And then we have the Naked 3. This was the rose gold one, and I went through a big rose gold phase. Like, all my devices were rose gold. I was just vibing with rose gold. However, this palette, she has no colour payoff. None. 0. It's boring, and none of the shades actually look like eyeshadow. But I mean, I like the packaging, but I don't like the tin. I like the colour. Oh, 3. And then we have the Naked Smoky, which looks like this. It's smoky, and this one I did use a lot. Like, you can see that I've hit pan quite a few times, and I used to do like the most basic looks. Like, they weren't even smoky eyes. It was like the really pale shade, the pink shade, and then the light shimmer shades, and that's what I used because I was basic. Yeah, I mean, it's fine, you know. 4 out of 10. And then this is this the last? Yeah, this is the last Naked palette I bought. I got the Naked Heat because it was all copper shades, and someone had told me that because I've got blue eyes, I should wear copper shades. So I was like, yes, this is my stuff. But as you can see, very lightly used, because at this point I had discovered Morphe palettes. Like, I had the 3502, which is copper shades. Which one am I going to use? Do you know what I mean? This one. Like, this is fine, but then this exists, and this is like £50. This is like 20. So 5 out of 10 is fine. But keeping on the subject of Naked palettes, I just want to talk about, like, you have 12 shades for like £50. So this is 50, 100, 150, 200. This is about £250 worth of makeup. I have 60 shades, and I don't use most of them. But I was very much in the kind of collector's mentality of makeup back in the day. So I was like, I have to have all the Urban Decay palettes, have to have all the Naked palettes. And I did, and then I discovered different makeup, because I was like an Urban Decay girl. I had the foundation, I had the concealer, I had the setting spray, I had all the stuff. I had all the things. So I'm quite glad I moved on from that, because I also have, but it's at uni because I do actually still use it, the Naked Ultimate Basics palette. Honestly, like, that's a good palette. It's so expensive, but it's a good palette for your basic kind of eye looks, your everyday eye looks, when you just want like a neutral, you don't want any shimmers. It's a really good palette. Buy that over these. I also have the Naked Basics, the small one. I think this is just the one, and it's 6 shades, wildly expensive, and it's basic shades. It wouldn't work for any kind of deeper skin tone at all, but it works for me, but I don't use it anymore. But if you want something that like you can just do your basic everyday ones, it's a bit more high end, but like this is an alright one. I don't know if they actually still sell it, but I give this like a throw on the floor. I give this like a 6. It's alright. Got more Urban Decays. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing. So I have the Urban Decay Moon Dust palette, which was their like sparkly one. My biggest issue with this palette is that the glitters are very, very chunky. Like, I don't know if you can see on the purple one. I need to turn it the right around. The purple one, like you can see that it's literally like chunked off. Like, it's fine. First of all, you cannot make a solid eye look with this palette. You can't do, if you only own this palette, you could not do an eye look that wasn't very, very over the top. This could not be a palette that you can just drop in your bag, like, no. And I just find that your brush picks up so much product because it's such a chunky glitter. I'm not a fan of this palette. I'm gonna say 1 out of 10. And then I think this is my last Urban Decay palette. It is the Disney Alice Through the Looking Glass palette. The sole reason that I bought this, and I think this is, you know, for 90% of people, is because I had a butterfly. That's it. That's the only reason I bought it. But realistically, I never had it, like, it's such a big box, so it doesn't fit anywhere. And the only thing, like the biggest selling point for me was the butterfly, but realistically, how am I gonna have it like this constantly? Sorry for the hiccups. And like, I just don't vibe with it anymore. One thing I will say for this palette, I'm just gonna take this out. For me, this was really, really good for when I was doing lots of shows, because it had like lots of bright colors that were really good for like show looks. But yeah, I never use this anymore. I never use this anymore. But I guess like 6 out of 10, like it's fine. It's fine, you know? It's a gimmick. It's a gimmick. I've got my 2, well, not my only 2 Morphe palettes, but like my 2 Morphe palettes I don't really use anymore. This one is the 3502 that I talked about a minute ago, the kind of orangey one. This was my first ever Morphe palette that I bought. It's fine, like, it's fine. But the criticism that I have of Morphe now is that they're so, like, the original Morphe palettes, not the collabs or anything like that, or the kind of, the newer ones that they've done are really interesting and like a really interesting color story. But this is boring. The first 3 rows, or the bottom 3 rows, because I'm holding it upside down, are brown. This, pretty much this 6 is brown, these are brown, and these are the only 4 interesting colors. So yeah, but I mean, it's fine. Yeah, so I guess I give it a 5 out of 10, maybe. But I just don't use it. I don't use it. And then I have the 35 Air, which is pretty much all shimmers. But again, like, look at the color story, it's brown. The color story is brown. Category is brown. And it's just, it's fine, you know? But for why? Why do I need, oh my god, a line of matte browns and then some shimmer browns? Do I need these? Absolutely not. Did I use these? Not really. Will I use these? Not really. But I mean, I guess it's handy to have. Yeah, 5 out of 10, I guess. And then I have the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. This I used so much. It still smells amazing. This is when I started getting into like the like soft glam look. So having the kind of the So Bougie shade, which is the like pale brown, not the black, and the Cocoa Truffle, and the kind of bronzy gold shades. Very much up my street at the time. But now, like, it's such a gimmick. Do you know what I mean? I think if it had just been like, God, this sounds really hypocritical when I've just said to Morphe like it's all browns, but I think it's just weird that you've got like a green and a bright pink. Like, they just don't make sense to me. I don't know, but I guess it's fine. I'd give this a 4 out of 10. Right, so my camera died. If I look a bit different, if the lighting's a bit different, if the angle's a bit different, I'm sorry. The Conspiracy palette, I bought this before everything came out about Shane Dawson. I bought it on sale about 2-3 months after it was released. It literally says on the back that like 6 of the shades shouldn't be used around the eyes, which is a bit concerning, but I guess Jeffree Star hates public safety, I don't know. But yeah, if you haven't seen the palette by now, while you're watching this video, because you clearly like makeup. But this is palette. Bad. It's really bad. Basically, half the shades are really, really badly pigmented. Most of the mattes are awful. The shimmer shades, they're all right. They're fine. The ones that I used the most were Tanacon. Why would you call a shade something that massively failed? I don't know. Diet Root Beer, Just a Theory, and Sleep Paralysis. That did create a really pretty look, but you needed a lot of product, which was quite frustrating. It's also really bulky. Like, if you look at that, I know it's the Jeffree Star style, but it's so bulky, and because it's not flat, it's hard to stack palettes. Like Morphe palettes, you can stack them like that. Even like Naked palettes, you can stack them. This, you can only have it on top of all your other palettes, because like if I'm in a drawer, I push that, it's down. So I don't love it. It's terrible quality, and also the people who made it are awful. So -3 out of 10, I guess. I hate it. I hate it. So now I have some like little palettes. I want to do like the big main ones first. Okay, a lot of these are from Glossy Boxes or Birch Boxes, because I don't tend to buy smaller palettes because I have a lot of bigger palettes. But the first one, which is actually my favorite of these palettes, is the NYX Ultimate Warm Neutrals palette. Looks like this. It's exactly what it says on the tin. It is a warm neutrals palette. I'm not sure how much this is, because like I said, I got this in a Glossy Box, I think. It's an alright palette. It's not very pigmented. That's my biggest issue with it. It's quite chalky, I guess. Like, it's fine. And it's a good kind of, well, NYX are expensive now, but I think it's like a decent price. It's not too much. And it's got, I can't do math, 16 shades, which is quite a lot. So it's alright. 5 out of 10. Middle of the road. I also have the Barry M blusher palette. This is the, doesn't say, watercolor, but it's like these peachy shades. I'm not really much of a peach blusher gal. I prefer a pink blusher, and these, they're very, very pigmented. It's like a lot. But it's just, they're just not my shades. But Barry M is a really, really good budget brand. I use their nail polishes all the time. This is just not my shade, but it's a decent blusher palette. 6 out of 10. So I have two sleek palettes. One is the Face Contouring and Blush palette. As you can see, it's barely used. I don't like it. The contour shade isn't dark enough, but it's also not warm enough to be a bronzer. The highlight shade doesn't show up, and the blusher shade, like, it's the shade of NARS Orgasm. I'd rather buy NARS Orgasm because I like it. I don't love this. 2 out of 10. And this is another sleek makeup palette. It's a highlight palette. It looks like this. I can't use most of these shades unless I fake tanned, because they're too dark for me. Glossy Box obviously sent me the wrong shade thing because I said I was pale. But yeah, it's just not very good. Also 2 out of 10. I then have a Style London palette. This is interesting because that came in a Glossy Box not too long ago. And I also have the MAC Burgundy ×9 palette. Look how similar they are. I get what they're going for. This doesn't have a name, but the MAC one I love. I love the pigment, I love the colours, very good. This, oh, it's called Eaton Square. I don't like this. The pigment is just not there, not for me. This one is good, although I'm trying not to buy too many MAC products now because I'm trying to go more cruelty free where I possibly can. But obviously, like, I'm not gonna throw away the things that I've already bought if I like them, because I don't have that kind of money. But yeah, so MAC palette, I'd say 6 out of 10. This one, 1 out of 10. Here is a palette that I think I maybe used once to swatch it, and I haven't used it since. It is the Steve Laurent Wild Thing palette. It came in a Glossy Box. These are not my shades. I don't love it. It was very, very badly pigmented as well. So 1 out of 10. I don't like this. Finally, we have the Clinique Morning Java palette. It's 4 shades. As you can see, this was in my time of buying ridiculously expensive makeup and having the same shades all the time. But the point of this is that you've got 4 shades, you can pop it in your bag, and you can do a whole look with it, which is a really, really good idea. It means you don't have to take, you know, tons of really bulky palettes to do a nice eye look. But my biggest problem with this is that you don't have any matte shades. They're all shimmer shades. So I'm putting shimmer shades in my crease. I'm putting shimmer shades under my eye. I'm putting shimmer shades in my outer corner, I'm using a shimmer shade as my base shade. In theory, great, love this. 4 shades, do your eye look, bish bash bosh. In practice, these shades are not the best ones to do it with, and I think it was quite expensive as well. But I love the idea of having like a mini palette that you can do a whole look with, because I think the biggest problem, like it's a similar problem to this one, which I really like, but it's all matte shades, so there's no depth to it. It's all the same look. Like these two together, or like 2 of these shades and 2 of these shades put together, perfect. But you can't just buy loads of mini palettes. I'd rather spend less money on a big Morphe palette. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, the Clinique, I put it down now, the Clinique Morning Java palette, I give it a 7 out of 10 because it is very highly pigmented. It is a really good concept, and it is really compact as well, so I do like that. Yeah, so that is all my palettes. This has ended up being quite a long video, so if you would like to see me talking about the other makeup that I've got, so I've got a lot of lipsticks, I've got a lot of lip glosses, foundations that I don't use anymore, and some other things. I can't remember exactly what's in there, but some things. If you would like to see that, leave a comment down below. Also, make sure that you subscribe so you can see more content like this. I'm planning on making some more makeup content that's not me doing makeup, so stuff like reviewing my palettes. I want to do, I think it's the palette tag, I want to do that, and I also want to talk about like the way that my makeup and how I do my makeup has changed over the years, because it really has. So if you guys did like this, make sure that you leave a comment to say that you liked it, or you subscribe after seeing it, or you like the video, so I know that this kind of stuff is the stuff that you like to see. Also, make sure that you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, because I do like polls and I tweet about videos that I'm making, do all the YouTube things, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye!